Good evening, wonderful ladies, and thank you very much for joining in today. This is a very special session, personally for me because I always love addressing, women women audience. And this topic itself is very interesting because investing is a very powerful tool. And women always, when I interact with my women clients, so they bring a lot of different perspective, different angles, and different thought process to the table. And every time the conversation leaves me with immense learning whenever I interact with my women clients. So I thought, let me, come up with something, where I'll be simplifying investing for women. We see that a lot of women today are into finance field and they're very actively investing and, into the stocks and mutual funds and things like that. But we see that there is still a huge gap and women need some hand holding and a push per se. So I thought, let me come up with a session to simplify investing concepts. So let's begin. So today, what we are going to discuss is we'll briefly see like how women and money. What is the relationship between a woman and money? Like in the sense, how do women think about money, and what are their priorities and objectives when it comes to savings and investments? Right, and then we'll slowly move on to what are the important steps while somebody is considering investing. Every time you have some money in hand and you want to invest, there has to be a step-by-step approach or a thought process set right in the beginning of the investment. So, what are those which are very important to consider? And we all do savings and investments on our own into different avenues. But what are some of the new age or smarter ways of doing things so that there is efficiency in returns, efficiency in tax management, and efficiency in creating or achieving our goals in a better way? So we'll see what are the some of the smart ways of doing things little differently. We'll see a few cases and scenarios of some few women, and what are the lessons from those scenarios, and how we can be alert and learn from their situations, right? And what are the broader financial planning aspects that a woman should consider and why? Lastly, we'll have a key takeaways, and we'll end up the session with your Q&As. Yeah. So, why specifically we come up with sessions for women? Because every time there's a survey, and people try to understand how women are doing their bit when it comes to savings, investments, or about women's financial well-being. We always see that the awareness is very low, although it is improving year on year. If we can if we compare in the last 10-15 years or so, it is improving, but still there is a huge gap. Like for example, there was a survey conducted to understand the savings and investment drivers and barriers for women in India specifically. The statistics are revealing, and kind of puts us in a thought process. uh, Only 14% of women, 14% of women are not even saving any money. If you look at these statistics, you will be shocked or surprised actually. 42% women saving less than 10% of their monthly income. A lot of women are getting into employment mode. Almost everybody today wants to be employed, wants to be financially independent. But what is it that they're doing with the income is something which has to be looked upon or created a bit more awareness. And what is that percentage of savings out of a household income or out of an individual income, and what percentage should ideally go into individual savings or family savings, and how women are doing it? So, less than 10% of the women are doing about 20 to 30% of their savings of their income. So all these factors, if we see it as very small number, and the kind of investments, the choice of investments, the way the money is dealt with has to be changed and streamlined, and has to be made more specific by creating awareness for women. So, however, we see that there is slow progression. Like I said, if you compare, Earlier, women used to invest or save and put their money only on physical assets. Slowly, that is changing. And if you can see the statistics or the survey in 2022, you see that a lot of women are also um, moving towards creating financial assets as in other than real estate, gold, and other than physical assets, women are moving towards financial assets. There is a slow progression, and that is good. And why should women save more? Uh, Typically, why this focus on women is coming every now and then. You will see a lot of other webinars. If you go to Google or if you go to YouTube, there will be specific webinars or specific videos for women and savings and investment. So why is it that? Why is that? That is because there is a difference when it comes to the pay also, right? So there is a gender pay gap definitely in almost all the industries, in almost all the fields. There is a gender pay gap. Men get paid more for the same kind of expertise or same kind of duties or services that they are rendering, and women are paid less, even though they are equally or even more competent. So this gap has always been there, and slowly, you can see that women cricketers are they are being paid similar to male cricketers. So that is slowly coming up in India, the awareness and the inclusion per se. But still, in a lot of in a lot of other areas, there is a pay gap. So women should focus more on stepping up or increasing their savings and investing strategies. Another thing is that women, generally when they get into a family mode, when they have children, they take a break. Sometimes the break is quite long, right? And hence there is a fewer working years for women. If not that, at the end of the working life, for example, after 45 or 50 or so, women are less likely to, they don't have the inclination to work because of a lot of physical changes in them, and maybe some illness, or they start becoming weaker soon. When it comes to strength, men are always much more stronger, right? So women tend to drop or take early retirement soon. So so that is the reason, like they should consider investing on an aggressive basis, saving in an aggressive basis, so that they are planning everything within the few years that they have. And another important thing is that females always outlive males generally. If you see, almost 80-90% of the times, women live longer. So what happens is, in the end of the lifespan. So these days, women don't want to depend on anybody for that matter. So saving for your post retirement also becomes very important. So few things that women should always be proud of, and should always embrace their feelings about money. These are few points that you should always um, consider owning these feelings of you. First one is, we all have, women have gut instinct on any matter. If you say, okay, if there's a kind of sixth sense or an intuition that comes when making any decision, or when thinking of any situation. The same gut feeling, the same intuition needs to be followed when it comes to money matters. Getting involved into money matters, bringing in your perspective and what you think about it, does matter a lot. So embrace this feeling about yours, what you think about think about the financial matters, right? Negotiating skills is very unique to women. Women can negotiate, very smartly and in a very effective way. So you should be proud of that. That is something which doesn't come to everybody, right? So you should be proud of that and bring that to the table when there are discussions happening regarding financial matters, at home, whether it is in the office, whether it is for your personal things, when you are talking to somebody to buy a product or a financial product, or getting into a financial services. So bring those skills to the table. There's nothing wrong about it, right? And a lot of, I've seen that a lot of women are not very open about talking about financial matters, because again, although there is a change in the thought process and they're becoming more confident, and there is a small section, this is just a small section of the society. A large section of the society still, treats women and that they're not capable of handling money and they're not involved in money matters, right? So whatever it is, whatever little knowledge you have, wherever you feel comfortable or you want to speak out one or two lines about money, speak it out. There's nothing wrong in it. Nobody is going to judge you for that, right? So only when you discuss, only when you speak about money matters is when you get to know, others perspectives, how others are doing. There could be learnings. If you just keep money matters to yourself without talking about it, whatever decisions you're making might not be the best. Getting into a discussion, like when we are in college or a job interview or something, there is a group discussion session always that happens, right? So everybody has a different perspective, and talking about any subject matter brings in a lot of knowledge and understanding. And work. Next thing is work with your partner or spouse. So don't just what do you say? Don't just take a back seat when it comes to money or financial matters. Try to get in slowly, bit by bit, right? Talking about and working. Even men need some kind of a support when it comes to financial decisions and things like that. And if they have somebody, their partner, coming in and saying that, this is what I think and this is how, it can be better, or some thought process, it'll always help. Okay, a team is always better than a individual taking those decisions. So involvement into household finances is very important. Another thing is that today's life is very uncertain, right? So women also need to be aware of the all the matters that happen in a household, to take care if there's an untoward situation. So you are in a better place to take care or handle those situations, right? And not to forget, last but this is very important, your personal financial well-being is equally important. So you doing investments on your own, creating a bucket for yourself, for your aspirations, there's nothing wrong in it. Thinking about your individual financial retirement plan. So these are some things which every woman has to think and align, and take steps every now and then to achieve these financial well-being aspects. Whether it is insurance, whether it is health insurance, creating a kitty for travel. It could be anything, a hobby or passion, or one wants to start any venture down the line. So it has to come organically through a good financial plan, and this will also ensure your financial well-being. Now, before we begin, today's main discussion, I would like to differentiate these two concepts, because whenever I start discussing about investing, I always see that people have this misconception that investing is similar to trading. It is not so. Investing is a long-term approach. It's a long-term strategy. So what investing means is it is a buy and hold strategy, especially for the long terms. It has a specific objective or a goal oriented, path or direction given to it. Okay, and it has the expectation is that there is wealth creation with the capital appreciation, with some incomes and interest payments, or returns on the instruments. Okay, there is a lot of scope for diversification. Okay, and it allows the investors to take a more detached and analytical approach to their investments, right? And investing is also tax efficient. On the other hand, if you see that, what is trading? Trading is nothing but buying and selling frequently to take advantage of the price movements in the market. Okay, with the aim of benefiting from the short-term price fluctuations, right? So the focus here is only on the short-term gains. The gains thus achieved again needs to be invested or directed towards long-term achievement of the goals, which doesn't normally happen. Okay, this is a speculative activity, and timing the market is something which needs a thorough study or a lot of time and involvement. This is a different ball game. Trading is a different ball game altogether. It is very, very risky. It has a lot of transaction costs, because every now and then there are trades happening. It is emotionally charged and driven by fear, greed, and excitement. The big picture is not there. The big picture is missing. So it's just about the moment. Today, what I think about this particular investment. Should I buy today? Should I sell today? It's about that. Okay. And from tax perspective also, trading is not tax efficient, because trading is a speculative income, and speculative income is treated in other heads, income heads, and it is taxable as per the slab rate. Now, when we talk about investments, there are two types of investments, assets, physical assets and financial assets. Like I was mentioning, physical assets are something which have a physical presence, where you can, like real estate, gold, any metal which is valuable, diamonds, and other commodities. Financial assets, on the other hand, are liquid money in instruments, where they can be converted into money easily, like bank FDs, debentures, equity, mutual funds, government securities, shares, you know, uh, these kind of investment avenues. So now, when we talk about women and investments, I would like to know from the audience, like, what drives you to invest? Can we have some answers in the chat box? Somebody can answer that. What drives you to invest? Nobody wants to answer that. Come on, it's just an open question. There's nothing right or wrong about it. It's I want to make this as a more interactive one. Yeah, yeah. Future security is one. Yeah, returns. Somebody wants investing for returns. Okay, good. Any more answers? Build wealth for the long term, capital appreciation. Good. Financial goals. Nice. Yeah. Yes. My child and family. Investing for child and family is, yeah, one of the important things where women look to grow wealth. Yeah. Yes. Thanks. Thank you, all ladies, for the answers. Yeah. If you do have any more, nice answers. Child's future. Yes. Very well said. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, yeah. So, sorry. Yeah. So, generally, women, when it comes to money and investing and things like that, did you observe that, we missed out on something when we gave our answers? Yes. So always the focus comes first for children and family, right? But you should also prepare yourself for any emergencies and uncertainties, right? Women should learn how to manage their risks. What are the risks they face, and how to manage them for the future, right? If you have a business, if you have a business, how do you want to, set aside something for a business emergency fund, or how do you want to invest it back into the business so that it generates even more, revenue and builds on your business, right? And also, there's a financial need to feel financially independent. When we say financially independent, it means for the future also, like, retirement planning. Like I was saying, most of the women miss out on planning their own retirement plan, right? Which is very, very important, especially in today's times. We never know. So, planning for all of these is also important. Alongside, you should also look at your financial well being and your uncertainties, and how do you manage your risks, and how do you plan for your post retirement living. There will come a time when you don't, your children are on their own, they are not depending on you, your spouse is there, not there, you should be able to take care of, at least the financial part of your needs, right? So those are some things. Now, what is the first step in investing? What is the first step in investing? Can you answer that for me? When you think about investing, what is it that you do on a step one basis? Setting goals, money. Okay. Any more answers? Gold. Okay. First step, you want to take investing in gold. Very nice. Okay. Any more answers? Yeah, mindset is very important. Good. Check what gives good returns. Read and research. Yeah, very important to read, understand, and do some research before getting into calculate how much money can we invest. Beautiful answers. Savings. Yes. Yeah, saving is the first step. Only after you save, you can think of investing, right? So saving comes first. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for all your answers. Yeah, like when we were young, we have always seen that how our mothers, even though some mothers would be working, my mom was not working. Whatever limited money she used to get from my father to run the household, with that she knew the knack of saving, right? Setting aside some money every month, and she had built a good amount of corpus. And that realization came after many years when suddenly my father needed some money. He knew that she was saving, but he was really surprised by the amount that she had saved. So saving comes naturally to women. Saving is like setting aside, keeping or not spending. That comes naturally, and we are very good at it. What do we do after that? The next step is investing. Like put that to some use. And how do you make your money work for you is something that we all have to learn. Now, the first step in investing is defining your basic investment objective, right? So why do you want to invest? That objective has to be set right in the beginning, before proceeding to starting which product should I invest in, what are the options I have, what is the risk, am I able to take that kind of a risk, or should I avoid that risk altogether? So all that comes next. First thing is your investment objective. Why do you want to invest? Whether it is for safety, whether it is for income, or whether it is for capital growth, right? These are the three broad categories any investment objective is based on. Safety is you want whatever you have saved, you want to make sure that it is retained. And capital growth is you want to let it grow. For example, when we are saving for our child, right, child's future, so we want to set it aside and make it grow so that it will help in their education or in their marriage, or if you want to provide for your child to set up some business or something like that, right? So those are the things. Income is when you think of setting aside your corpus or your money where it is giving you some kind of a passive income for the future. So these are kind of broader aspects we should define our investment objectives on. Now, second most important step is cost optimization. Whenever we think of any product or so any product or investment avenue, we have to always do read and do some research about what are the costs involved. Is there any fee, is there any expenses that are happening on my investment, and what is the net that is getting invested for the growth, and is that an acceptable range, so how do you optimize your costs? That is number one. Secondly, you should always see that whatever investments you are making are also tax efficient, because tax outgo is something which we don't have much control on, right? So once we reach the taxable income range, uh, income tax is always there. So what are these steps you take to minimize your tax outgo? And when you're saving for your future, how that can be done in a tax efficient way? So these are the decisions, very important steps you should consider before getting into any kind of investment, right? So Mr. William Sharp, who is a Nobel Prize winning economist, he's a very famous economist. He says that the golden rule of investing is diversifying and minimizing the investment costs. Diversifying is also equally important. Like somebody said, answered on the chat that what is your what drives you to invest? Somebody said gold, right? So overdoing any kind of a product is risky at any point of time. So diversification is equally important. So when we talk about investing for safety, what are the things that come to our mind? Okay, so when we think of safety, we think of capital protection, we think of some guaranteed returns, we think of diversification, low fees, and tax benefits. These should be our step by step approach when we are looking for investing, not only for safety, for anything that matter, but capital protection is for safety. So once we have built sufficient funds where we are ensuring safety and growth, and still then we feel that okay, there is some amount of money where I can take a little bit of higher risk and play around with that money and see if I can get some higher returns. Is there something I can do a little differently with that, money which I have set aside after accomplishing my main financial goals? Then comes a part where capital protection might not be there, but yes, if you leave it for a certain period of time, then you see a good return. So that is something else. But when you're talking about safety, investing for safety, capital protection comes as a first priority, and then comes what are the guaranteed returns, right? So when we think about safety, investing for safety, these are the avenues we go to. One is gold investment. Women love gold in India, and I think it's true for outside India. Women also they prefer gold investments, gold jewelry, right? Real estate. Real estate is again a safety. We Indians are very fond of real estate investments, whether it is land, whether it is a rental property, second or third property, commercial property. We do invest a lot on real estate, right? And FDs was one all-time favorite of people some time ago, but not so now because of the lower interest rates. Then comes the debt mutual funds. So debt mutual funds are also considered as a safer investment avenue, right? So when we look at investing for safety, there are two thought processes. One is the loss aversion, and one is the risk aversion. Loss aversion is when someone is more focused on avoiding certain losses than looking at the gains of it, right? Most of the times what happens, even if even if there is a certain loss initially, the gains that come in the long term are more. So most of the times, because of safety issues or because of protecting their capital thought process, this is a bias which comes to people, the loss aversion bias. Then comes the risk aversion bias. So I don't want to risk my money at all. Okay. Any uncertainty will make me uncomfortable. So these are two different concepts, loss aversion and risk aversion. So you have to figure out what is that is troubling you, which is that thought that is troubling you, and how do you counter that? Yeah. So now, when it comes to gold investments, women, why do Indians love gold so much? One is tangibility. Wherever money we are putting, we are seeing it in gold, right? When we see jewelries in our cupboards, we feel happy about it, and we feel a sense of security, right? Why do we again invest in gold? Maybe we want to give it to our daughter for her wedding, and we want to start buying little by little from now itself and accumulating for her, right? It's a status or a prestige issue, not issue, topic, I would say. Whenever we go to any functions and all, if we don't have enough gold when compared to other women, we feel a little insecure or not up to the mark or something like that. So those are the reasons why we want to invest and buy some gold jewelry. Another aspect of it is that it is a wealth preserver. So whatever wealth we have created, if we invest in gold, it preserves wealth. Why? Because gold prices are always increasing, and gold has always been in demand, especially in India, right? So it preserves wealth. So these are some of the main reasons why people invest in gold. But the actual concept or theory when it comes to investments, only investments, when jewelry is not investment, we invest it for our own what do you say, pleasure, or we like it, so we cannot compare that. So when we think of investing in gold for returns or for long term things, so then comes the inflation hedge aspect. Gold is a very good hedge against inflation, hedge against market uncertainties and volatilities, right? And it is, of course, savior during crisis. In any kind of emergency situation, we can always go and sell the gold biscuits or coins or some part of the jewelries if there is a dire situation like that. It always comes as a savior. We know that we have gold, and we can cash it out if there's a situation like that. So these are some of the reasons. So now the gold prices from the last 10 years have grown for almost 125%. So today, in March, it was around 61,000. Of course, it has reduced a bit now, but still, it is an quite high price. Now, what are the so when it comes to gold investments, it's you should understand that whether to buy a physical gold or a digital gold. Now, what are the pros and cons with physical gold? Advantages are that you don't need any expert advice, or you don't have to consult anybody to buy physical gold, right? It is no specialized knowledge is needed. Okay, risk reduction and wealth creation can be achieved. Acts as an inflation hedge. It is highly liquid, right? It helps in diversification. You can always have loan against gold. You can pledge your gold and take loan. So all these aspects are there. What are the disadvantages? Is that it's like a debt asset, right? It is an asset, but it doesn't generate any income. So there's no regular income. It's like locked in that jewelry, in that biscuit or a bar, right? It is prone to theft and risk to life also, right? It is difficult to store, and again, there is, if you buy a have a locker and a facility like that, again there are recurring charges which you have to pay, so it adds on to the cost, right? Gold prices are impacted by major movements in the international market. So in the short term, you see that gold is fluctuating a lot, although in the long term it has gained good appreciation, right? And making charges, GST, and luxury tax and things like that are there, right? And when you want to liquidate it, let's say for example, in the future you want to give away the gold and invest it somewhere else, then they deduct a lot of wastage charges, even if you have not used the jewelry at all. Even if it is newly kept in a box, there will still be some wastages that will reduce the value of your investments. So whatever gains it has gained, the capital appreciation or whatever, to some extent, it will reduce. All these factors will reduce the real value that you're getting when you sell them, right? So then, what are the smart ways to invest in gold? So there are two, three avenues these days, right? Sovereign gold bonds, gold ETFs, and gold mutual funds. We'll see one by one. Why these are better than physical gold. Okay, when it comes to jewelry, yes, you can have it for your own use, but when you're looking at it from an investment perspective, you should take a little bit of a different approach. These are some better ways of doing it. Yeah. So, what are the first we'll look at what are the minimum investment amount of these different types. In physical gold, you can buy even less than 1 gram of gold, right? Small earrings or a small ring. It comes for less than a gram also. Gold ETFs, what is the minimum amount of investment you need is at least 1 gram of gold you need to purchase in gold when you're looking at gold ETF. Sovereign gold bonds, again 1 gram at least. Gold mutual funds, on the other hand, because they sell as a unit of the underlying gold asset, you can start an SIP or an initial investment of as small as even 1,000 rupees. Okay, so let's look at the first one, gold ETFs. What is the concept of gold ETFs? Why this is good and how does it work?
Hi, in this video, we will discuss and highlight the key aspects of gold ETFs. India is the largest importer of gold in the world. Many Indians are very fond of investing in gold as an asset class.
Is the audio coming?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. Sorry, 1 second.
Hi, in this video, we will discuss and highlight the key aspects of gold ETFs. India is the largest importer of gold in the world. Many Indians are very fond of investing in gold as an asset class. But most people invest in physical gold by buying gold ornaments and jewelry. Investing in physical gold has many barriers. Firstly, they come in with hefty designing and making charges which jewelers demand. Then they have issues with determining their authenticity. You will need an expert to always determine the quality and pureness of the gold. Lastly, they cannot be purchased in very large quantities because of storage, safekeeping, and transportation issues. To help overcome all these barriers, mutual fund companies started offering gold ETFs. ETFs stand for Exchange Traded Funds. ETFs, unlike mutual funds, have their units traded on the stock exchange. Just like stocks, investors can purchase units of these mutual funds from the exchange at a market price. While ETFs are more commonly known to have stocks and commodities in their portfolio, there are also debt and gold ETFs. A gold exchange traded fund is a simple investment product that allows investors to take exposure in gold. When you buy one unit of a gold ETF, it is like owning 1 gram of 99.5% purity gold. Here, the gold is not delivered to you in physical form, but you will hold gold electronically in your demat account. The value of the gold ETF will increase or decrease based on the price of spot gold in your country. Every unit of the ETF you purchase will be stored in your demat account and you can sell it whenever you want, just like you trade stocks. Investing in gold is suggested by many financial experts as it acts as a hedge against market uncertainty and fluctuations. But you should remember that securities transaction tax, GST, brokerage fees, and exchange fees are some of the additional costs you need to pay for buying a gold ETF. So, if you're looking to invest in gold as a hedge or simply looking for long term diversification, then investing in gold ETFs has many benefits over physical gold. Thank you for watching the video.
Yeah. So ETF, like we saw in the video, it is nothing but exchange traded funds. You need to have a demat account if you want to buy gold ETFs. If you already buy stocks, right, you can use the same demat account to buy gold ETFs. So what happens here is, suppose we are investing for our daughters, for the future. The jewelries that we buy now, they might not like those designs in the future, or when we want to, when they don't like it and we want to liquidate it in the future. Unnecessary making charges will be there, wastages will be there. Instead of that, you can choose digital gold instruments like these, like gold ETFs or mutual funds or sovereign gold bonds, where you are purchasing units of the underlying asset, which is 99.5% purity gold, and the price of your units of your investment increases or decreases as per the market rate of gold. And looking at the past trend, the gold investments have always done well, right? So if your horizon is at least a good 5 years, investing in gold ETF will work wonderfully for you. And you can, when you want to exit, you can simply trade it, through your demat account and exit, and sell it off at whatever the spot, prices, spot gold prices, right? So the same rate will apply for your redemptions, and you will get the amount similar to gold rate, right? So that can be a good a way to invest for daughters, so that you can take the same money at that point of time and just buy them the jewelry that they need. And same works for you also. If you are looking for buying something for yourself, maybe 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, you can do so in a planned way. Like when you do gold ETFs, you can do SIPs also. So you can plan it out every now and then. You can keep investing in that bucket, and whenever you want, you can redeem and purchase gold ornaments or something out of it. So now coming to the sovereign gold bonds. So sovereign gold bonds are government bonds, where again the underlying investment is gold, of course. Yeah. So what is the beauty of sovereign gold bonds is that it has 100% guarantee because it is a government instrument. Apart from that, it offers a 2.5% interest per annum on the initial investment. Okay. If you hold it up to maturity, there is absolutely no tax on the investment or maturity. Okay. It has a sovereign guarantee, that is a government guarantee. It's a very low cost investment, and it can be securely held in demat form also. So, and there's also a discount for 50 rupees per gram if you do it through an online mode. Okay. So liquidity, of course, there's a lock-in here, but since if you take it on a exchange in a demat form, you can also liquidate it. However, there will be tax implications, right? So, what are gold mutual funds? So we saw what is gold ETF, what sovereign gold bonds, and now coming to gold mutual funds, we'll see how gold mutual funds work. A short review. Yeah. So because the audio, there's no audio actually, only the background music is playing. See if you can see in this particular screen here. So gold mutual, there are mutual fund companies, the AMCs. So what happens in equity mutual funds is the AMCs invest, in stocks of different companies, right? Similarly, in gold mutual funds, the AMCs either buy physical gold, some portion of it in physical gold, and some portion in stocks of gold mining companies. So that's about gold mutual funds. So that is the main differentiator. So mutual funds, they buy in large quantities because they're pulling all the investors' money and they're buying in crores and crores of rupees. So they get at a very very low cost, or at very very bargain prices. So the best purity gold is bought at very reasonable prices because of the advantage of scale, right? So that those are the benefits of gold mutual funds. Gold mutual funds also provide a lot of liquidity because just like any other mutual fund, you can sell it, if there's a situation where you want to come out of it. Yeah. So those are the things. Now coming to the taxation part, how these three differ, right? So physical gold, there's no maturity. However, for sovereign gold bonds, 8 years is the you, the bonds mature at in the 8th year, right? But however, you have liquidity after 5th year. You can sell it back, or come out of it. Taxation for physical gold, before 3 years, if you're selling, the gains, or the amount is taxed as per slab rate. After 3 years, you get a indexation benefit here. Whereas gold mutual funds and ETFs, you will be taxed as per your slab rate. There's no short-term gains or long-term gains. Any gains that are there will be taxed as per your slab rate. However, in case of gold, sovereign gold bonds, if you hold it up to 8 years, all the gains are tax-free. All the maturity amount is tax-free, right? There is GST in case of physical gold, whereas it's not there in the other two. Expense ratio, physical gold doesn't have any expense ratio other than the making charges and those kind of stuff, but handling and there are other associated costs per se, but a product as such doesn't have an expense ratio. Here in gold ETFs and mutual funds, there is fund management charge, which is about point. It differs from fund to fund, depends on what kind of gold investments they are doing. It usually ranges from 0.1% to 1%, within that range. This cost or expense ratio is not there for sovereign gold bonds. Ease of transaction is very low in case of physical gold and sovereign gold bonds because of lack of liquidity, and however, it is very high in case of gold ETFs and funds. So simple, very very simple. If you have a horizon, if you don't have liquidity problem, or if you don't want to come out of it intermittently, you can look for investing in gold, sovereign gold bonds. If you feel that I need liquidity for my funds, then you can invest in gold ETFs or gold mutual funds. So those are the two ways you can look at it. Now, when it comes to mutual funds, there are two ways of investing in mutual funds. One is the regular mode and one is the direct mode. A lot of times, what happens is investors, although people are investing through online apps these days, which is very very simple and easy. The KYC is done online. It is a very simple process, and within a few clicks, you are all set and ready to do your SIPs and investments, right? So what happens is, a lot of the times there is no awareness between what is a regular fund and what is a direct fund. Regular fund is where you are not paying any fees to the platform or anything, but the AMCs, the mutual fund companies, are paying the commission to the platforms or the advisors, right? Direct mode is one where you are directly investing with the AMC. So there is no middleman cost involved. So here your NAV or the price per unit of your mutual fund is more in case of direct mutual funds. So these are the two ways how you can invest. If you feel that if you go to any advisor today, you have both of these ways to invest. It simply depends on how you want to pay the advisor. If you don't want to cut a separate check or pay separately to your advisor, you can choose your regular mutual funds where the advisor gets paid through the commissions. If you feel that I can pay separate fees and I want I'm okay with paying a separate advisory fee, you can choose your direct mode. Now, if you're investing on your own, right, you look for apps which allow you to invest in direct mutual funds, right? So there you don't even have to pay your advisor fees, you will save on that as well. So this illustration here is shown with a model portfolio and with a 1% advisory fee. What if you have a financial advisor and the fee that they charge on direct mutual funds is 1%? Even after paying that 1% advisory fee separately, still how the direct mutual funds are beneficial for you. So you should, so if you see here, these are the different categories. These are the weightages. How much is invested in each fund? For example, let's say I've taken a 50 lakhs a portfolio. The amount invested in each fund is this. Okay, so these are the weightages. Okay. So these are the weightages. These are the inception returns of these funds. So now, over a period of 3 years, you can see that the corpus, how it has grown. This is regular and this is direct. You can see that there is a difference, right? So the direct mutual funds have grown better than the regular mutual funds. That is because here, in these NAVs, the commissions have already gone, and this is net of commission. And since here there are no, mutual fund commissions or middleman charges there, so it is directly with the AMC, so the corpus is a little higher. Now, the difference is about 3.8 lakhs here after 3 years. Okay. Now, let's say you have paid 1% fees and 1% was charged quarterly or annually, let's say, and the total fees that you have paid to your advisor is 1.67 lakhs. Even after that, you are better off in a direct mutual fund because the net profit that you have made is around over 2 lakhs. Right. So similarly, as as the time horizon increases, your benefit with direct mode or advisory mode of investment is always there. So for 5 years, you can see that up to 5 lakhs is your net gain. So like that for 7 years and 10 years, you can see that the gains are better even after paying your advice fees. So the point is, it is always good to invest in a direct mutual funds. So now gold has a inverse correlation to equity markets. They move in opposite direction to equity markets. When equity markets are doing very good, you will see that the gold prices are falling or are stagnant or things like that. When the equity markets are falling, you will always see that gold prices are volatile. When the equity markets are volatile, every day it is falling, going up, falling, going up. So in these kind of situations, you will always see that gold prices are rising. Right. So in the year 2020, when there was COVID crash, you can see how the equity markets had fallen and how the gold prices were increasing. So what happened during this time is that people who were not able to come out of equity investments because the markets were not favorable, they used the gold investments, to provide liquidity for themselves. So there were situations where people had just begun on their retirement, post retirement period, and they were leveraging on the equity portfolio, and they were not able to come out of equities, right? So what they did was they had, as per asset allocation, few of our clients itself, as per asset allocation, they had good amount of allocation to debt and gold, from where they withdrew for their post retirement expenses for some period of time, right? So that is how you have to look at gold investments. It acts like a hedge in case in situations where equities are unfavorable, you have another set of investments which are doing well and which can come to your rescue, right? So those are the things. So it's always like that. They have a inverse correlation. Now, when we talk about gold, what is the ideal allocation that one should look at when it comes to gold in the portfolio? You should have not more than about 10% of gold allocation in your overall portfolio. Now, again, this depends on your risk profile, your financial goals, and other liquidity aspects. You can go a little bit overboard and make it 15% as well, but not more than that, right? Because gold investments are what do you say, very very dependent on the global demand also. You never know. So those are the things. Coming to income generating assets, we have real estate investments where rental incomes come as a very good source of income for our post retirement, or as a passive income where some efforts are there to maintain the properties and all, but yes, still the rental income comes. Guaranteed income plans, these are some insurance related plans which are not annuity or pension plans, right? So there are some guaranteed income plans which have come up in the recent past, maybe a few years ago, which provide guaranteed payouts. For initial 10 or 12 years you will make the payments, and then after that period you will start getting regular payouts from these policies for a certain period of time or up to your life expectancy. There are different kinds of combinations that come in. So these the returns of these are like in the range of 6 to 6.5% as of now, and it's a good time to lock in these kind of instruments because the interest rates are favorable. After a certain period of time, we will see that the interest rates will go down as per the um government policies, the global scenarios, the inflation, in India will reduce, right? So we will see that the interest rates will reduce in the future. So right now, it's a good time to lock in at these rates for a long term perspective, whether it is in guaranteed income plans, whether it is some good quality bonds, or fixed income instruments, right? So which can act as income generating assets for you for your future, right? You can also look at some good dividend paying stocks, but again, this involves a lot of time and effort. If you are somebody who is savvy of using stock screeners, and if you have good knowledge, or if you have somebody in the family or friends who can help you out with assessing a few of dividend paying stocks, you can do that. Any other alternative sources are like mutual funds. You can build considerable amount of mutual fund corpus, and you can do a SWP. It is a systematic withdrawal plan. So out of your mutual fund corpus, you can every month you can what do you say? You can schedule transactions similar to standing instructions what we give to the bank to deduct from our bank account. Similarly, we can have that kind of an arrangement with a mutual fund also, where every month we want to redeem some units or some money from the funds as an income for us. That comes. So there are different stages to it. Two stages basically. One is your accumulation phase, where initially about 5 to 10 years you're accumulating your mutual fund portfolio, and once you make it to a sizable amount, from then you can start your withdrawals. So these are some of the income generating assets that we can consider. So we are falling a little short of time because it's a very deep content. So real estate, we all know that a lot of time and effort goes in maintaining properties, and flats are usually a depreciating asset. So although there is income generation, the rental incomes are taxable. The rental yields are not that great. Every year, how much of a rental increment can you do on your rents, right? So that all those factors should be considered. So overdoing anything is a no, actually. Okay. So what is the ideal allocation of real estate in any portfolio? It shouldn't cross up 40%. Ideally 25 to 30% is a good allocation to real estate you should have in a portfolio. That is excluding self-occupied property. Okay. So whatever you do for investment or rental income generation or something like that, you should look at not more than 25-30%. When it comes to properties, women should also be aware of property rights. As women, what property rights do we have? We have different property rights as Muslim women, Christian law, and Hindu law, right? So we are running a little bit short of time. There are some interesting topics which I have planned for this session, so I'll just briefly, quickly take you there. The property rights are always available online, or you can get in touch with a good CA, to understand if you want to understand more, right? So, what are the situations, challenging situations that we as women, may come across? One is sudden death of a spouse, god forbid if there is a situation like that, or this in recent times there are a lot of divorce also, right? So how do women tackle all of that, right? And another important thing is, like I was mentioning, the retirement readiness. How women are getting retirement ready, right? One second. Yeah. So here you can see this illustration here. In 35 years, how Mr. X grows his corpus, and how Mrs. Y or Miss Y grows her corpus. Okay. You can see the different stages. He starts working at 25, his salary is so and so. Income increases by 10% every year. Percentage of income invested for retirement is 10%. So till here, everything is almost same. Of course, here there is again, like I said, there's a pay gap, right? Because of gender. So women usually get paid less. So here there's a first, setback there, and then there's a break. Women generally take a break, and then again they restart their career. By the time they reach 60 years, uh, the corpus, that both of them accumulate, there's a huge difference you can see, right? And the life expectancy is more for women and lesser for men. So annual withdrawal from retirement corpus for both, let's say if it is 20 lakhs, the corpus will last for him up to 39 years, and for her, this corpus will last up to 16 years. So because of these reasons, the sooner you start saving, and the sooner you start investing, and the sooner you start growing your wealth, the better it is for you as a woman to be retirement ready, right? So these are some situations which I have captured from different articles that I read recently. So I'll just read out and just give lessons out of these. There was one article which said, after I got divorced, I realized I was dependent on my husband for my health insurance needs, and that after a legal separation, I was disqualified from being the beneficiary. So this was a situation which my client had faced. She had a divorce, and the realization was that she was not covered under health insurance from her husband anymore. And now it was difficult for her to get a insurance because there were some health conditions. So we never know what kind of a situation we all will be. It's not so for everybody, but just to be ready of any untoward incidents, it is always good to have a one independent health insurance of your own, right? We can foresee, or we can understand the situations, right? So once you have, anybody has a situation like that, or a realization like that, health insurance is something which should become as a top priority, because hospitalization costs are very very high these days, right? And if there is no insurance, you'll end up paying out of pocket, and disturbing your long term financial goals, your retirement and everything, right? So whenever you are young and in good health conditions, buy a basic policy, whether it is a 2 lakh policy or a 3 lakh policy, whatever you can, and so that there is continuity to it, and it is one which is of your own and not dependent on anybody. So you can have things like that. If you have situations where you have to add your children to the same policy, there are a lot of options and a lot of providers who can do that intermittently whenever there is a need, right? Let's look at the second situation. My financial advisor told me that I had to change my nominations in the employee provident fund also. It is easy to miss these details when you are probably going through the most turbulent phase in your personal life. Yes. So, if you're a working woman and if you have considerable wealth getting accumulated in avenues like PF, NPS, and things like that, so a nomination is something which should be done for all mutual funds, shares, for any kind of policies. So by default, will have nominations at any time, right? So you should be alert and aware of situations that you should check, go back and check all your investments whether you have named a nominee or not, right? And you should always be alert of the situations where you feel the need to change nominations at the right time, right? So those are the things which will not come to your mind at that point of time. So it is better to have, keep it ready and have it in line right away, right? Another thing, situation is this: after having received your alimony, it is imperative to start saving and investing for your children's education and preparing a solid financial reservoir as soon as you can after the divorce has been formalized. As maintenance would be determined by courts, but it is unwise to depend on the maintenance from your ex-husband, right? The financial advisor had recommended investing in child plans as well as equity mutual funds for children's needs. Yeah, there are a lot of children's plans, right? So instead of just randomly picking any mutual fund, it is good to have a bucketing strategy and a focused investment for uh, children's solutions, education solutions, funds, or something like that, right? So where you can diversify your investments. This is a case where a woman had lost her husband suddenly. So the sudden death of her husband 8 years ago turned Sangeeta Jain's world upside down. She suddenly had to provide for her teenage son's higher education and pay EMIs for a home loan. Her choices weren't many, and time wasn't a friend. So what she says is, my husband's company offered me a job, and I had to join within a month of his demise. Financial help arrived in the form of life insurance and home loan insurance proceeds, but more importantly, she was aware about how and where to use the money. Her husband used to maintain a diary of family savings, and that's how Sangeeta was always in the know of where the money was going to and coming from. 8 months after his death, she hired a portfolio manager who manages everything for her till now. So the lessons that we learn from here is, see, our husbands are very well, taking care of all these situations, and we trust them, and everything is fine. But being aware of what is happening is also equally important. In situations like this, if anyone doesn't know what to do, right? It will be a complete chaos, right? So it's always good to sit together with your spouse, discuss and understand what is happening in the family's finances, where is he investing, whom to contact in case of emergency, whom to contact if God forbid something happens and he is not in a situation to interact or talk to anybody. Then you have to take charge, right? Any situation can come like that. So these are some of the lessons that we should take from this situation. So, what are the broader financial thumb rules for anybody? This is not just women specific, but it is important for anybody. Uh, First is create your emergency fund. Buy your life and health insurance when you're in very good health, because after a certain point of time, you might not get any insurance in the future. So, whenever you are in the best of health, just ensure that you have these. Budgeting and saving strategy is very important. Debt and loan management, how you repay your loans, by increasing your EMIs, or doing some partial payments in between is very important. How do you plan for your goals, retirement planning? What are the other long-term goals, aspirational goals? How do you plan for your liquidity, like travel and other things, right? So these are the broader financial planning thumb rules which we have to uh, follow step by step. What are your simple steps to investing? Is first is save your boat. That means nothing but manage your risks. Have your life insurances, health insurances, your emergency funds, right? Which can, if you have a business, there should be a separate emergency fund for your business, a separate contingency fund for your household, right? So differentiate, bifurcate things, and say have a good safety net for all aspects, right? You should always follow a good asset allocation strategy. I will come to the asset allocation part in a while. How do you split your goals into short, medium, and long term, right? And there has to be a continuous portfolio review and monitoring. At least once in 2 years, you have to, look at, how your investments are doing, what changes needs to be done, right? So all those things. When it comes to risk management, buying an independent life insurance and health insurance is top priority. If you are a professional like a CA, a doctor, something like that, you should always have a professional indemnity insurance so that you reduce the risk of, you being sued for any misconduct or anything like that. You don't have to shell out from your own pocket, right? Build an emergency fund separately for self and business, updating nominee to your investment accounts and bank accounts. So let me tell you, for all your mutual funds, you have to update your nominee before January 2024. If you don't do so, your investments, your mutual funds will be locked and blocked actually, and you'll not be able to transact until you update the nominee. So the SEBI has given a deadline of January 2024. So please ensure that you have updated your nominees on all your funds, right? And creating your emergency circle. So I had a client who was going through a divorce situation, and she had physically challenged children. So then she started worrying about the future of the child. What happens after divorce? What if something happens to her and things like that? So it is always good to have your close family members, or identify people in your circle can take care of situations, whom you can trust with your financial matters, your close to your heart matters. So it is very important to have a emergency circle like that. So how do you bifurcate your goals, into short and medium and long term goals? What are the typical short term goals? Is going on a holiday, buying a car, getting married, which is like not more than 1.5 year away usually, right? That is the gap we have to get married or something like that. Or it can be at least at the most 2 years, right? Medium term goals are deposit on a house, that is what do you say, the initial payment when you're buying a down payment for your house. When you're looking at starting a family, and you want to plan something for your child right away, so those can be the medium term goals. Taking a break from work, yes, when you want to take a break from work, you should have some funds to take care of your expenses, right? So how do you plan for that? So everything has to happen with a smooth and efficient, financial plan. Long-term goals, of course, it is children's education, your retirement, and things like that. So start bucketing these into, three sets of goals. And your investment strategies, your investment instruments also should be bucketed as per your goals. This is for my retirement. This is for my, retirement bucket. This is for my child's education. This is for my daughter's marriage. You know, and this is my travel fund, right? Start bifurcating and bucketing and investing. It becomes easy for you to manage, right? So another important thing is that you should always have uh, not more than 10 to 12 products on a whole in your basket, so that the managing is easy. So it's like sometimes what happens is we just go on investing in the flow, and we see that there are a lot of funds, lot of mutual fund folios, lot of stocks and things like that. You need to take time and weed out and clean up your portfolio and make it crisp and easy for you to manage. Women are very busy. We play different roles, and there are a lot of responsibilities. Our involvement in is there in each and everything, uh, at home also and at work also, right? So it becomes very tedious if your portfolio is also cluttered like that. So take some time off and manage your portfolio, streamline it, weed out all the unnecessary or non-performing funds or stocks, and have a crisp portfolio, right? So what are the best investment avenues for women which are easy to manage is mutual funds and ETFs, right? So you can have ETFs of different kinds, whether it is equity ETF or a debt ETF or a gold ETF. You can have any combination. Mutual funds also, there are a lot of categories in that. So have a crisp portfolio of about 10 to 12 items in your portfolio. Stocks, yes, stock investing involves a lot of time and effort, and it's very risky also. So be very careful when you're delving into stocks directly. Investing by age. I'll just give you a short understanding of, how do you invest by age. If you're an investor who is less than 30 years old, with minimal responsibilities, you can take equity allocation of up to 60 to 80%. Normally, when we talk about asset allocation, it is said that 100 minus your age should be your equity exposure. For example, if you're a 30-year-old, 100 minus 30 is 70. So 70% can be in equity related investments. But that's like a thumb rule. It totally depends on your risk taking abilities, your what do you say, your income flows. How confident are you of your income flows? How certain are these cash flows for you, and how you can manage your investments, right? So for a less than 30-year-old with minimum responsibilities, you can have higher allocation to equities. You should have health insurance by this point of time. You might not need a term insurance right away, but it is good to have because you will get both health insurance and term insurance at very, very reasonable and low premiums. And it is good to lock these. At least for term insurance, this premium gets locked for the entire tenure. However, for health insurance, up to 30 years, if there's one premium which you pay up to 30 years for a health insurance. After 30 years, up to another 5 6 years, you will pay another same level of premium. So it's like that. So, if you are a investor of about 30 to 45 years old, generally in this age group, people have kids. So, you can look at equity allocation of up to 50%. Again, this depends on your riskability and, the kind of income you would be having, the kind of risk you want to take, right? It can go up to 60-65% also. So you should have a term plan by this time. You should have goal-oriented savings, bucketing strategy, like I was saying. You should plan your EMIs and home loan prepayments. Usually during this age group, we all tend to have home loans because we end up buying a house of our own for self-occupation, occupying, right? So EMIs will be there, car EMIs will be there. How do you plan and prepay those? That becomes a priority at this point of time. So during this phase, you'll also see that you will have to stop the SIPs for a certain period of time till you streamline the cash flows with these EMIs and other outgoings, other commitments, right? 45 to 55 age group is a phase where we are almost very close to retiring. Usually by 55, people want to retire at this point of time, right? So at this point of time, what so as you grow older, your equity exposure reduces. So at this point of time, up to 30-35% of equity exposure you can have. You should have health insurance and critical illness cover. So if you have some health insurance right when you are 25-30, the same can continue and the same can be topped up and include your riders like critical illness rider and whatever is applicable for you at that point of time. It becomes easy. At 60 plus, you should reduce your equity investments because after 60, you're depending on your corpus that you have accumulated during your earnings years, right? So at that point of time, you don't want to take any market related risks. So keep a small portion of about 20% for growth oriented strategy where you want to leave it back to your children or grandchildren, or leave it back to your family, and the rest can be in your safe fixed income related safer securities or investments where you're also withdrawing for your living, right? So these are some of the things. Another important aspect is if you are a 30-year-old in your career, you should always look at tax planning as your priority. And equity linked savings schemes, it is called ELSS, are one of the best ways to save taxes, which come under ATC. Of course, if you are if you are employed with a corporate and if you are in a senior position, your PF itself takes care of the ATC, section ATC of tax exemptions. However, if you're falling short, you can consider ELSS also. ESOPs, a lot of women invest in ESOPs also if the companies are providing, but make sure that you are not over allocated here and there is no over concentration here. If you have good quality ESOPs, from time to time you need to do profit bookings and diversify and reinvest in other avenues so that you have good diversification and a growth model for your investments. EPF, NPS, and PPF are also very good investments when it comes to safety, guaranteed returns, and long-term investments. So these are also good. If you have opportunity to increase your PF, VPF, it is called Voluntary Provident Fund, you can do that. NPS is also one of the best ways to ensure retirement purpose for yourself. Of course, there is a restriction on the withdrawal amount after you retire, but anyway, you will be having a passive source of income, right? So that which can take care of in the form of pensions for you. If you have a girl child, Sukanya Samruddhi is a very good investment for her. So up to 1.5 lakh per year, you can invest in Sukanya Samruddhi for your girl child. It has some very good features. I have covered those in my another webinar. You can go through our YouTube channel and view the same. Mutual fund SIPs are always a big time hit with any investor, and for women more so because it's a very easy way to save and invest, right? What is the advice for single women? Whether it is single women or not, I always feel that women should have a very crisp, simple portfolio. Consolidate your bank accounts. Don't have multiple bank accounts, right? One or two bank accounts at the max are good. One is maybe where you receive your salary, and one where you schedule your investments, right? Investment account. So it should be a manageable portfolio of not more than 8 to 10 products or max 12 products, right? You should learn the operational, procedural, and tax related aspects. Get into all these things slowly, bit by bit, every year, and file your taxes on time so that you're not paying any penalties and avoiding unnecessary costs there. Stick to your investment time horizons. Do not worry about market conditions, market fluctuations. If you have decided that you want to stay invested for 5 years, stay invested for 5 years, and only in the fifth year, whenever your goal is approaching, only exit at that point of time. Think of exiting at that point of time. Work and build passive income sources. Very important. Single women should focus more on building alternative streams of income, which can just keep coming in without much involvement of yours, without much effort of yours, right? So these are some good ways. Health and life insurance, as I've already mentioned, this is true for everybody, and saving for emergencies also. So, joint financial decisions with spouse, we have already discussed this with the situation. It is always good to getting involved with your spouse on money matters, on household finances, investments, savings, children's future. What are the plans for the retirement and things like that? Okay, so there will be situations where one of the spouse is thinking of doing a venture of their own, right? In such kind of situations, what you can do is always have a timeline, like how much time are you going to give to this experiment. Sit down, discuss, and have a formal discussion for this, and chalk out a timeline, right? Let's say you want to give a 3 year time to this venture. If things doesn't work out, then what is my plan B? So you should have a plan like that. Always going with the flow is not advisable, because we are living in uncertain times, because of lifestyles and health issues and things like that, right? So it's always good to have a more streamlined approach. Diversify assets and investments to make a robust portfolio. Your portfolio should be able to take care of every aspect, whether it is a tax aspect, whether it is a return aspect, whether it is safety, wealth creation, growth, having good growth, and faster achievability of goals and things like that. Discuss money matters at regular intervals and keep each other informed. Create a repository, maybe. Okay, create an Excel sheet of both of your investments, like where all you have invested, who is your advisor, and what is the contact number, or who is the bank manager or a bank RM who can help you out, or in case of situations. It's good to have a repository like that and share it and discuss it, and keep updating this repository from time to time, right? As simple as the laptop password also matters in cases of emergencies, right? So if you don't know a password to the laptop, or where you cannot access your each other's laptops where most of the information is stored, then that also is a concern, right? So these small things also matter. So how to review your portfolio? Like I was saying, firstly, look at the entire portfolio, weed out whichever are the non-performing or unwanted, investments, like mutual fund or stock. First thing is you do that. Then have a crisp portfolio of not more than 10 to 12 investments. Keep checking these at regular intervals, at least once in a year or once in 2 years, and check for your debt and equity exposure. What is your age, and how much is in equity and how much is in debt, and is that allocation good for you? Again, in equity, what are the different categories you have invested? If you are a risk taking, if you feel that you are capable of taking a good amount of risk, and if you see that in equity investments you are more invested in balanced mutual funds, so then that is not the right approach, because you are able to take some more risk. You have to be a little more exposed to mid and small cap, or some more of large and mid cap kind of investment. So like that. Even subcategories allocation matters. Keep realigning to the original asset allocation whenever the market conditions are favorable or not favorable. You need to tweak the investments. There's something called as a strategic asset allocation and tactical asset allocation. The tactical is something which we do changes in the short term based on the market situations. So those are also important, like profit booking, right? So whenever the equities are all-time high, you see that your equity exposure has gone up considerably. So then trim it down, book some profits somewhere and reinvest when the times are favorable. So these kind of exercises, any financial advisor would, help you with. Top up SIPs by at least 10% every year. This has to happen on a regular basis. Every year, try and increase your SIPs. Try and increase your committed savings every year. This will help in faster achieving of your goals and a better and bigger corpus for you. Once in a while, get the portfolio reviewed by a professional financial advisor. So that is a good thing. What is mistakes that women must avoid at all times is extreme risk aversion. So it's just a mental block that women can't take risk or can't delve into stock markets and can't do market related investments. Those are some notions. That's it. You have to overcome that and look beyond uh, risk aversion. Look at the positive side of it, like what you will achieve if you take that kind of risk, right? Letting your partner manage all your investments. So even though your partner manages it very well, but still you should have an understanding of how he is doing it, where is this being invested, who is the contact person, and what does he do as a regular exercise. So you should, just as an awareness also, you should, it's better to get involved, right? Going overboard with gold, like I was saying, over investing or over concentrating in any asset class is not good, right? And so for gold also, I have already discussed what are the better ways to do gold investments. You can take the help of that so that it is more flexible rather than jewelry and coins and biscuits. Keeping too much in bank accounts or fixed deposits, that is also a big no, because fixed deposits and bank accounts do not earn much interest these days. So just keep up to whatever you need as an emergency fund where you can quickly access to these funds, right? Up to 4 months, 3 or 4 months of expenses you can keep in a flexible FD. Remaining another 4 to 5 months of a worth of expenses as an emergency fund, you can keep in a liquid mutual fund. Yeah, so those things you can consider. So that's the end of the session today. Thank you very much for staying on with me. I have overshot the time because the content was really deep. I hope this has helped you, and thank you very much for your patient listening. So if we have any questions, we can take those now.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for sharing valuable insights. I think we are having a question in the Q&A section. You can
Yeah.
take it.
Yeah, so there's a question: can only PF be considered as a retirement plan? Uh, Earlier that was a thing. People were happy with only PF being the only source of retirement, but these days it is always good to have multiple sources. I'll tell you why. Because as you can see, the PF rates have decreased from time to time. Earlier it used to be close to 9%. Now it is about 7.1% to 7.2%, if I'm not wrong. So slowly the government is reducing the rates on fixed interest on these instruments. So it is always good to build a parallel portfolio where it is growing a little bit faster and good way. Mutual funds is one which you can consider for sure. Mutual funds, SIPs are the best way to create a long-term growth-oriented portfolio for your retirement. Yes. So some of you have asked for this presentation. Yes, we can share this presentation with you after the session. We will reach out to you. Can you explain the difference between risk aversion and loss aversion? Yeah. So risk aversion means where you don't want that is a bias actually, behavioral bias. I don't want to take risk at all. I am good with my safe investments. I'm happy with my FDs, or I'm happy with my gold investment. So you should, that is a bias actually. So some form of risk is good, calculated risk. Okay, so you have to take a calculated risk, like how much portion of your overall savings you can take a little bit of higher risk, so that you are not only looking at avoiding the risk altogether, you are also looking at the aspect positive side of it, that it is helping you grow your money faster. Of course, in the short term, you will see that there is a lot of fluctuation, your principal money has gone down, right? But you should not be worried about that. You should, whenever the markets are down, whenever your portfolio is down, you should keep pumping in more money at regular intervals, right? So that's what, like I was saying, sticking to a time horizon and having all types of products will help you best achieve your long term financial goals. Now, loss aversion is, for example, let's say, that let's say gold investments, right? So what happens is, most of the times, as financial advisors, we have model asset allocation. So as per asset allocation, we always try and see that about 5 to 6% of gold allocation is there in any investor's portfolio. Okay, so what happens is, there were a couple of customers who were arguing that the gold has not given me any return. Okay, instead my investments have gone at a loss when we were doing a portfolio review. Okay, these were the arguments actually. So they're not able to see the other side of it. So what happens with this gold investment is that whenever equities are doing good, you will see that gold is not performing. Okay, it is vice versa. When the markets are volatile, when there is a war situation or COVID like situation, gold is performing fantastically, right? So at those times, and during the longer span of time, these funds will perform, right? So because of that, one or two customers said, no, no, this fund is not at all performing for me, I want to come out of it. So that is loss aversion. So we know that this instrument or this allocation is good for the long term and as a hedge to the portfolio, but still we are not able to digest that loss, or even for a short period of time, and we want to come out of it, which is on a practical basis, on an overall financial planning thumb rule basis, it's not the right approach, right? So that is loss aversion. I hope I have clarified. How safe is it to invest in commercial real estate? Um, yeah, see, any real estate, any investment for that matter, has risk associated with it. Even if it is FD, it has interest rate risk, it has inflation rate risk, right? So commercial real estate also has risks of its own. Of course, nowadays again commercial properties are doing very well. So overdoing anything is a big no. You can do it in a calculated basis. Like, it's good to have one commercial real estate which is earning you some rental income. It is good to have one residential alternative house which is rented out, and that is also giving you passive rental income. It is good to do, but overdoing is something which we all have to avoid. It's a good idea to have one portion. There's nothing wrong in it. It's not 100% safe. It has its own pros and cons, like maintenance. And sometimes what happens is the tenants don't leave at the agreed time, and if the business is in loss, they're not able to pay rent. These things are always there. Yeah. So I think, yeah, I have dealt with all the questions. So thank you very much for all your patience listening, and I hope this session was helpful to you. If you have any more questions, please feel free to write to us, and we will reach out to you. Sanjay has given my coordinates there on the chat box. You can reach out to me personally as well. So thank you very much, and I look forward to have you all on my next session also. So please keep coming, and thank you.